Hello folks, welcome to the Wikipedia world and I am Abhinay Gupta. Today again we'll continue with the topic, the appointment and qualification of directors. We have already had a couple of lectures on this topic and this is indeed one of the most important topic in your corporate and allied law. Right? In our preceding few lectures, immediately preceding lectures, we have undertaken some of the most important topics, that is the rotational non-rotational director as per section 152 subsection 6 and 7. Right? And then after that we had discussed some of the important questions that have appeared in your previous examinations, and also we have covered the topic of the small shareholder directors. Right? We have covered the provisions in detail, and I think it is clear with you that who a small shareholder director is, how many companies can he be appointed to, what are the procedure for appointment, and what is his position into the company as a director. Right? So those were some of the important topics. We have covered the questions too. Today we'll move ahead to understanding one more important aspect that we should actually have covered some time before, that is about the data bank of directors. Right? Section 150, the selection of independent directors and the data bank. This should have been covered when we completed the topic, the independent director, but the one basic reason why we didn't cover this topic while we were discussing the independent directors was to keep it for a later stage so that we can still revise the independent directors. Right? Because as I have already told you, independent director, it is a new topic in this act and it has been an important topic. Right? And this is important for your upcoming examinations too. Right? So revising the topic, memorizing it is very important. So today we'll get a zest into the independent directors, and then we'll understand from where do we get the independent directors, where is the data bank maintained. Right? So when we talk about independent directors, we know that in listed company at least 1/3 of the directors should be independent. Right? And there is a limit also given to it. If you have a turnover of greater than 100 crores, if you have your paid up share capital greater than 10 crores, or if you have your deposits and debentures all cumulative greater than 50 crores, you will have to have at least 2 independent directors. Right? So that was the requirement of independent directors, and we know that managing directors, whole-time directors, nominee directors, these are not independent directors. Basically, ordinary directors are independent directors. And we have also seen the 6 conditions. If we revise those 6 conditions in brief, that was that the person should be of integrity, expertise and experience. He should not be related. He should not be a promoter or director of the company, associate, subsidiary or holding. We would call it cash, CASH. Right? Neither should he be related to the promoter or director of cash. Right? And then he should not be holding any pecuniary relationship with the company or its promoters and directors. While we talk about company, generally we talk about cash, company, associate, subsidiary and holding. Right? And without any limit, he should not have any pecuniary relationship. And when we talk about its relative, they have a limit. They should not be holding pecuniary relationship over rupees 50 lakhs or 2% of the company's gross turnover, whichever is lower. Right? Now this was the 4th point, and then we also had some of the basic conditions to be looked into, as per which any person or relative should not be a key managerial person or employee of cash, that is company, associate, subsidiary and holding. Right? And they should also not be an employee, partner or proprietor of any firm. Like now when we talk about firm, we are talking about 2 categories of firm. Category number 1 consists of a firm of chartered accountant, company secretary and the cost work accountant. Right? If any of these firms are associated to cash in any way, then you are not supposed to be the employee, partner or direct or proprietor of that firm. If you are, then you are not supposed to be the independent director in this company. The second category of firm is the legal firm and the consultancy firm. There, even if you are associated, but your gross turnover, the firm's gross turnover, if the firm gets less than 10% of its own gross turnover from cash, then you may be an independent director. But if you get more than 10% of their gross turnover from cash, then you are not supposed to be an independent director if you are an employee, partner, proprietor of such firm. Right? Then you or your relative combined cumulative should not be holding more than 2% of the voting power of the company. Over here we are not talking about the company, associate, subsidiary and holding. We are just talking about the company. This is the only point where we are referring to the company, so please keep it in mind, right? And then the last thing over here is that you should not be a CEO or director of an NPO who holds more than 2% of the voting power of the company, or who receives greater than 25% of the receipt from cash. And last but not the least, you should be over the age of 21. Generally, to be a director, you should be over the age of 18, because that is when you can apply for DEN. But to be an independent director, you should be over the age of 21. So I think we have just spent 2-3 minutes on that, and the entire independent director conditions are clear in your mind now. So now we'll move ahead and understand from where do we get these independent directors. Yeah, we know we are supposed to hire independent directors. That is supposed to be around 1/3 of the total number of directors. But how do we get them? Right? So there is a data bank maintained with the institute. Basically, the data bank contains the name, the addresses and the qualification of the directors. Right? The directors actually, they themselves go and get their names registered over there. So you can go, you can look out into the data bank, and from there you get those independent directors. And we know that the Absa data bank maintains the data of the person who are willing to be independent directors, right? And then this is maintained by any body or institute which is notified by central government. So your institute, this ICAI, is one of such bodies too. There is ICAI, ICSI. These are the bodies that have been notified by the central government to appoint to hold that database, right? So that is where you get the data bank, you get the details of all the independent directors, right? And then you have to go ahead and select some independent directors among them that you want for your own company based on their qualifications, right? And the degree and the expertise and knowledge that they possess, right? So the company, the directors in the company, they go ahead and select the independent directors from that data bank. Now, there is a data bank. Suppose if we take an example, there is a data bank with the institute, ICAI, right? And in that data bank, you have the name of various independent directors. Suppose I am an independent director, I am a director, I go and get myself registered, right? And I give my particulars over there, that I am such and such director, these are my qualifications, these are the expertise that I hold and stuff. Institute will not go into the detail and check as to whether I have given all the particulars, these are true, right? Because they won't come and check whether I have those expertise. Okay, qualification can be checked, they'll see the documents, but they will not be able to check the expertise and the knowledge that I have. And I have listed them on the data bank. Now if a company comes, the company wants those qualifications in me, and as per their requirement, as per the knowledge and expertise they need, they select me. And when I reach over there, I'm not able to do anything because all the information I had given was false. Who is responsible? Now, can the company sue the institute? Can the company blame the institute for this? The answer is no. Because as per section 150, the company has to apply their own due diligence for electing the independent directors. If they want any individual from here to be elected as an independent director into their company, they will have to apply due diligence for that. And once the shareholders select the independent director from this data bank, they have to take them in front of the shareholders in the general meeting and get it approved that yes, this is Mr. X, we want him onto the board, so kindly give your votes for or against this person, and if that person gets a majority vote, he becomes a director. So that is where they get an approval from the shareholders in the general meeting, and for that they need an ordinary resolution, right? And one more thing that we need to keep in mind is when we are sending a notice for holding such a general meeting where we are appointing an independent director, then the notice of general meeting would include an explanatory statement, right, that would contain a justification as to why we are appointing Mr. X as our independent director. So in that notice you will write the details. Okay, we need an expert in this field, and Mr. X is very suitable for that. He has such qualifications and knowledge and experience in particular field, and that would be beneficial for our company. So we got Mr. X from such institute, and we will be presenting him in front of you in the general meeting. Kindly vote for or against. Kindly give your views on the same. So similar notice giving these details would go to the shareholders, and then the shareholders are mentally prepared to vote for or against this person. Right? So that is how we get the independent directors. Section 150, not a very important section from exam point of view too, but you should be knowing it. Right? From where do we get the directors? Because you may be asked about, you may be given a case, and if you get a question, you may get a case referring to the company selecting the data bank. And again, the case is that the director is not very appropriate, who is to be blamed, who is to be held responsible for that. And the answer is obviously that the company is required to hold the due diligence. And if they're able to do it, well and good. Otherwise, the company is to be blamed. Yeah. So that was about the procedural part and the provisions as per section 150. Right? The basic thing from the company's point of view, right? Or from a layman's point of view as to from where we get it. But if we enter into the detail of it to understand how the procedures are going forward, then the data bank which is to be maintained, they contain the name, address and qualification of the person who are eligible plus who are willing. Right? These are the two criteria for which the data is maintained. Right? And it is created and maintained according to such rules that may be prescribed. So they'll have to follow a particular criteria, a particular rule as to the maintenance of the data bank. Right? And this would be given to any body or institute notified by central government indeed. But those institute and bodies should have expertise in creation and maintenance of such data bank already. That means those institute and bodies should have already had this experience, right? And they should have the expertise. They should have already maintained any data bank for any other thing. So CG would notify only such institute, and that is why ICAI and ICSI have been notified for the same purpose, right? And when we talk about the manner of selection, we know that the company would apply due diligence, but the central government may also prescribe the manner and the procedure for appointment of independent directors, for selection of independent directors. Right? Now this was about the provision, this was about section 150. Now if we get into a little more detail, we would look forward to the rules, right? Which is rule 6 of Companies Appointment and Qualification of Director Rules 2014. So as per the rules, the institute, body or association, right, who have been notified by CG will now be termed as agencies. Now when we refer to it as agency, you would understand that we are talking about such body, institute or the association, right? So those agencies will have to, when they get the database, when they get the detail, they will have to get those database placed on the website of the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So if you want to actually refer to it, if you want to go and have a look into the database, you could go to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs website, and there you get the listing of the database. And then they could also be maintained on some other website if it is approved or notified by the central government, right? And when we talk about the details that will be entered into that database, then it will hold the name, that would be in full, the father's name, DIN, date of birth, nationality, occupation, full address, educational professional qualification, expertise. Then the when we talk about the list of limited liability partnerships in which he has been designated as partner, right? List of companies in which he has been a director, the legal proceedings initiated, right? So these all details have to be mentioned over there. And as we've already discussed about the responsibility, we know that the responsibility would rest on the company that is selecting the independent director from the database, right? So even there will be a disclaimer given on the website that the agency who is maintaining the database or the central government shall not be held responsible for the accuracy of the information or lack of suitability. Like you thought the independent director would suit your company, but ultimately he is not. So even that is not the lookout of the agency or the government, right? And if a person wants to get his name registered in the list into the data bank, he would have to send an application to the agency and not to the central government, right? And then you would also have to give them a certain amount of fee, which will be very reasonable. And if there is something, if a wrong particular has been entered on the website, you should check it, and within 15 days you would apply for change in the database, the change in the details that you have furnished. Now there are certain requirements of the database that is to be displayed on the website. So as per the rule 6 of Appointment and Qualification of Directors Rule 2014, those data bank which are posted on the website shall be accessible at the specified website, so that anybody who goes there can access it, right? It should not be protected. right? And that should be prepared in such a way that it is substantially identical to a physical database, right? So that it is convenient for the viewers. And a search engine has to be initiated on that. You should have a search option whereby you can just click on the search option and then filter as to your requirements. And that format that is displayed on the website should be printable, should be in a printable format, so that if you want a detail, if you want to carry off some detail from the data bank, you can print it, right? And if it is not very easily accessible, then you should also provide a link to the softwares that will help you to view and print those data, right, for all the PCs and all the compatible devices, right? So these are the basic requirements as per Rule 6. So we have covered all of them in detail because you never know what the institute asks, and that will be for your information also, right? So when you are covering law, specifically the company's law, don't try to just mug up answers and the theory from the point of view of examination, right? Because when you're already studying something, if you study it in a good detail, you will learn a lot from the text itself. So the people who don't have practical experience into the companies, obviously students, most of you don't have it. So for you it is very beneficial when you get into the rules, because the act would give you the provisions, but rules will give you the actual lookout into the matter, the actual details and the actual requirements that you need, right? So I think that will be all for the day. We'll end up the lecture over here today, and in the upcoming lectures we would cover the topics like alternate directors, additional directors, casual vacancy removal and stuff, right? So stay tuned. Until then,